I heard Floyd Mayweather has kicked out his stripper fiance in preparation for this fight.
That's a bit, it's a bit rough. Poor guy. Is this that old boxing thing where you can't have sex before the fight?
I think this was so he could focus. So he can't be getting lap dances before the fight.
Yeah, but why is he saying he wants to focus when he's literally sitting there pre-fight and he's talking to interviewers saying, "Oh, this is free money," sort of thing. Like I can just whoop this kid and walk away.
He's taking it seriously.
It's like half a month. He's got so many.
It's less. It's like 3 weeks away.
This is the 6th of June.
Yes, 3 weeks.
That's more than half a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick math. It's a lot more. But yeah, that's why.
But I don't know.
How distracting is she? Is she the one for him if he's going to distract her that much?
She must have a high drive. I don't know. Maybe Floyd's getting old. He's like 40 something. Maybe his is down.
Past his prime.
It could just be like, look,
he needs Blue Chew to get shit going.
He might.
He just couldn't be bothered. I want to sleep and rest instead.
Probably. And who was saying Logan Paul has got?
Apparently Logan Paul's got full-time security after the little scruffle with Jake Paul and Floyd. Since when
you brought that up,
beat up,
it boggled my mind that he didn't have
he had security, but apparently he's now got 24-hour security. Like
that's nuts.
At all times, he's taking the threat seriously. Publicity, I would think.
But he is literally the most cloutiest guy, if that's not a word it should be. Urban Dictionary can add that. He's literally the most cloutiest guy in the world.
And doesn't he live in Puerto Rico now?
Yeah.
So is that going to be more dangerous for him or less?
I got no idea.
You'd think less people would know him. Actually, Puerto Rico's basically.
But he's big. He's famous. He's wealthy. Like, why wouldn't he have security?
You're thinking people will kidnap him and hold him ransom for money and shit like that. Yeah. Just makes me think, do I need security? Like, people like us...
Number 5 podcast.
Come on, People like us, we don't need security and no one gives a fuck about us. But it's like, at what stage do you go from, like, no one cares and no one's going to kidnap you and hold your ransom to, I need security? Where's that point?
What does it take? Is it a number of death threats you need to have had in order to... is one death threat enough? Nah, I don't think so.
You don't take that one seriously, yeah.
Maybe it's 30, 40. In a day. Death threats. I'm like, all right, I should get security.
He would have received a lot after Japan.
Yeah.
So I think he would have...
he would have been thinking about it.
No, I think he would have had like a couple of 100 death threats.
A day.
I can't imagine that the comments on some of those videos and posts just after Japan.
Oh, yeah, he would have been lit up and terrified for his own safety and also for his reputation. Like, it would have been a tough time. So you reckon since then he's probably had full-time security?
I have no idea, but just someone that big I thought would. Yeah. Like if he goes out in public, he's getting rushed.
Does The Rock have full-time?
Yeah.
Does he?
Yes. I mean, he looks like his own security guard.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's like if you're massive like that,
it's kind of irresponsible not to have full-time security.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, but it's crazy that you need that.
Yeah, but what about like these other like superstars? I mean, do they all have...
Yeah.
Does every multi-million follower Instagram model have full-time security?
Maybe not just like an Instagram. I don't know.
Multi-million?
What about if you're like, for example, if you're a Twitch streamer, like you stream video games, if you have maybe like 40,000 people watch your stream daily and you have millions of subscribers and stuff like that, like PewDiePie, for example, we'll just use him. Well, do you have to have security at your house?
I think so. I think PewDiePie would have security.
You think so?
100%.
Being as controversial as he has, for sure.
100%.
So that
dude's making too much money to not have security. I think
I'm gonna quickly find out what personal.
I feel like it's a weird combination of money and social clout, I guess you could call it. And because the more money you have, the more lucrative you are for someone to kidnap you.
And it would obviously correlate with how controversial you are as well, in terms of... probably not. Probably just notoriety and fame would make you want to have a decent level of security. Because you watch some of these like actors and celebrities walking down the street, when they're getting like photographed by all this paparazzi, they don't have tons of security around them a lot of the time. Like a lot of them just go into the shops and stuff. So is that different being an actor as opposed to like someone as controversial as Logan Paul and that?
I guess there's probably instances where security aren't around them 24/7.
So I just
think that's why it's such a big story with Logan Paul.
if you have a basic armed security, it can be anywhere from $50 up. Like the sky's the limit.
$50
per hour. Yeah.
That's nothing.
I don't think that's anything at all.
So you have 8 of those guys just protecting.
No, what I mean is,
I think you're probably looking at like
No,
80 to $100,000 a year.
Yeah, but dude,
for a full time.
The sky's the limit
For
from
someone
there.
who's got actual tactical training.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm paying $50 an hour for like the best dude ever. No, you'd probably be paying like $500 an hour, and you'd hire him for like really significant events. For example, like when they're going to big fights and when they're going to like massive publicity events, that's when they'd have like 14 dudes and like one head honcho calling the shots and like maneuvering them through the crowds and stuff like that.
I think it's also not just a safety thing, but just like not a peace of mind, but just someone to make things easier. Like when you're maneuvering through the crowds,
that'd be virtually impossible.
You don't want
to.
You're the one that's the popular. You're meant to be the one that people want to be around. So you can't be the one pushing people out of the way to get through when that's your sort of job. You're trying to get through to some place.
It would look really awkward if like Shaq is going to go sign like posters and like merchandise for all of his supporters, and then in order to get to where he's going to do the signing, he's like pushing them out of the way and like manhandling them. It would look really, really weird. It'd just be like, oh, what the hell is going on?
It's
like
just having those separate.
Yeah,
I don't know, separators.
No, they are. They're
like a Lego block.
He would surely just be at the event early and just let people in after. That would surely be what they have to.
Yeah,
they have to preempt all that shit. But it's interesting.
Yeah, but who thinks about that? Does he think about that? Does his team? Does his agent?
His team thinks
security?
I think the talent, a lot of those guys, it's not. They're not thinking about their security. That's all set up. They're all ready to go.
They just rock up.
Their agencies and crap would be like, yeah, we need to give you full time. We've had a lot of death threats for you the past week.
What about Joe Rogan? Like, he's a really famous dude who's made his name at the UFC, of course, but also online. Does he have security?
I've heard him mention security guards at the podcast studios and that, like, it's just security here at all times. Yeah, it's something we don't even think about, but it's just
I would feel so weird. Like, imagine if you're at home, right? You've got security guards all through your house, all like around the perimeter of your house, and you're going to sleep. I would feel so weird that there's armed dudes outside my door, and I'm asleep. He could literally just... What happens if he's an infiltrator? He just walks in, shoots me in the head while I'm asleep.
That's why you can't have one. You need multiple.
Yeah, literally.
From different places. You don't want all the same.
Yeah.
Grew up together. Nah, get out of here.
Different eggs from different baskets.
But I think... Because I've heard Joe Rogan talk about a couple of places where he was looking at getting a house on some boulevard near one of the comedy clubs in LA. This is while he was still in LA. And talking about how this house had minimal security features and I guess wasn't built security minded. And someone bought it, someone he knew, broken in, and I think got killed, but I'm not sure on that. But I think it's something that's on their mind, and maybe it's not constantly around them.
It should be on everyone's mind when you're shopping for your houses or like getting rentals and stuff like that. You should always be thinking, all right, if I was going to try to break in, where can I break in? I mean, like at my place, it's all double brick walls pretty much. You can't really get in.
A couple of door accesses and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you've really got to be thinking about, oh, fuck, is there a window that someone could get a push up onto and get through into the house? I mean, people just don't think about these things.
Yeah, but like I still think like we're different to the Joe Rogan, where they're desirable to like steal or kidnap.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
You know they're worth money, and you know that if you go into this place, you can get something of value.
Yeah,
that's the scary part.
How often do you hear of someone like that getting kidnapped?
No, not often at all.
And do you think it's just because they all have security?
I think so, and I think like Australia is a safe place a lot of the time.
Sure, yeah.
America is a lot safer, but in Brazil and in South Africa, there's a lot of separation between the lower class and the upper class,
and they live close too.
And there's a lot of situations where security is needed.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a story, right? So when I was over in the UK and I was working as a florist, we got contracted to do a setup for a Halloween birthday party for Tamara Eccleston's daughter. Tamara Eccleston is Bernie Eccleston's daughter, and Bernie Eccleston owns multiple teams in the Formula One. And so she's worth like so much money, it's freaking ridiculous, man. And I remember when we walked in, you had to go through this side door, get let in by security into this other separate room. The whole team, we had to sit down. They lock the door. They like leave us by ourselves for a minute. Then they all come in. There's guys with like pistols and like holstered already. They've got all these paperwork for us to sign. It basically says you're not allowed to tell anyone what you've seen inside the house, or you're not allowed to disclose any details. Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure. There was this chandelier in the main room when you walk in. There's these two staircases. It literally looks like a Disney film. And this chandelier in the front was easily the same size as a dinner table. And it was so elaborate, so many tiers. I was just gobsmacked. But yeah, people like that, they have security everywhere. They've got cameras everywhere. For example, when we were fixing up all the outside and setting up these decorations, the security would drive in, wait on the driveway. It would lower, elevator would slot in, car drives in, elevator lowers it down. So you don't even have to go through the house and bother the family. They just go downstairs into their rooms and watch what's happening, and they're outside in the yard looking around, making sure people aren't loitering. It's ridiculous.
It's obviously something I think a long time about to make sure it's as like seamless.
Dude, they make it so that they're never in the way. And I was just interesting that you guys brought up security, because since having like that experience, I've never really thought back to it like, oh yeah, you know, security is like a full-time job. But now I'm sort of, just in this conversation, I'm realizing like, wow, if you wanted to make like a good living, you can just become a security guard and do shit like that. And that, you might have one or two big encounters in your career, but you'd be otherwise making bank, because all you're doing is making sure people don't come near your house. And you've got a gun. So...
Do we reckon like the people protecting Floyd Mayweather are shifts? Is it shifts? Like 8 hours, clock out?
I think so.
8 hours,
No,
that kind of crap? Yeah.
Because he would probably have 24-hour security.
Meanwhile, that dude could literally beat you up with his hands.
For sure.
So just fucked.
But I think that's why they're not $50 an hour. Like, they're paid top tier so that...
Yeah.
It's like, where's your bread buttered?
Yeah.
I think that's where it comes to.
Yeah, you got to pay for the top tier sort of guys. If you have all that money, like for example, who's the boxer who has a massive watch collection, really expensive watch collection?
Floyd.
It is Floyd. Yeah, thought so. Well, if you took that briefcase, it's like that's millions of dollars. All you'd have to do is somehow get in the house, grab the briefcase, and hit the legs. That's what you guys are saying. Security for that sort of stuff.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.